about the movement. So it was yesterday and it is today. Some of the movement in Klishivka from the Russian side, they've took this village under their control, and on the north over here you can see just a light movement from the Russian side as well in the Sil region. There's the railway station. And now let's go to the latest news and events. The Russian propaganda forced the video today from one of our soldiers who filmed the retreatment of our forces from Bakhmut. But actually it was not the retreatment from the Bakhmut. They've just left this park, as I say to you, or you may call it Bakhmut Woods. And yes, Russia took control over that area, but they're far from the main residential buildings. Russians still try to reach the Krasny Hora on the north from Bakhmut, but unsuccessfully. They sent some of their reinforcements to that area, but there was the video published that they were just demolished by our artillery. Sorry, I cannot show you the video on my YouTube channel, so I will share it on my Telegram channel, and for that please subscribe for me over there as well. Also, Russian propaganda spread this video today showing how Abrams tank struggles reaching this hill. And my friends, every tank is unfortunate with that obstacle. Here you can see the concrete with the black ice, and every tank would behave like that with a stock caterpillar. So you really need to have something tuned with the caterpillars that has extra grip. And yes, Abrams tank is much heavier compared to the Russian tanks, but Russian tanks has less armor. They also have less electronic systems and less capable, let's be honest. For Abrams tank, yes, it has advantages, disadvantages, but I'm sure if you put T-90 over here, it will do the same. Finally, the Ukrainian army has received the Sea King helicopters. Those could be used for the search and rescue, goods delivery, and evacuation of our wounded soldiers from the front lines. This is a very capable helicopter, even though it's quite old, but we need those helicopters a lot. Alright, let's speak again about Ukrainian corruption. There is the big scandal today, and the journalists uncovered the scheme where some of the officials sold the products to Ukrainian army that were much more expensive compared to regular prices in the shops, sometimes 2 or 3 times expensive. Because of that, the National Anti-Corruption Bureau started their investigation, and I trust them because they're independent. They're separate from president, parliament, police, and many structures. And for example, today the National Anti-Corruption Bureau arrested the deputy of one of the ministers. He was given a bribe just in his cabinet. As you can see, Ukraine still has the corruption, but we have some independent agencies and independent journalists who fight against it. And I think that is the sign of the democratic society. You can't imagine it in Russia. There is also some sort of the scandal around the Leopard tanks in Germany. So ex-defense minister banned the revision of the quantity of the Leopard tanks in German army. She gave the separate order a couple of weeks before her retirement not to calculate those tanks in German army. So now new defense minister Boris Pistorius ordered to the German army to calculate how many of the Leopard tanks they have, because some of them are on a long-term storage, some of them are on a duty, and some just used for their regular trainings. And Cyprus officials say that they are willing to transfer T-80U tanks to Ukrainian army. Those tanks are superb actually compared to the standard T-72 or T-64, but as an exchange Cyprus needs the Leopard 2 tanks. I think it's better for Ukrainian army just to get the Leopard 2 tanks, and that's it. Some of the T-80s were equipped with turboshaft engines like Abrams tanks. And allies continue to press Germany to send the Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. I think we're gonna receive those tanks in any case. Finally, it's the only way for Ukrainian army to have the successful counterattack in the south. We need tanks, since it's the attack weaponry. The main thing that Ukrainian soldiers will go on a training on Leopard tanks very soon, and then we're gonna receive them they're gonna drive them right away. And Elon Musk, probably some sort of the Scholz friend or something, I'm super pro-Ukraine, but relentless escalation is very risky for Ukraine and the world. It shows me that some of the people may be smart, but not intelligent. Alright, this is the Russian propaganda journalist who went very close to the front lines, and let's see what she's saying.
Совсем рядом с нами идет стрелковый бой.
Very close to our positions, there is the fight going on. And something happened. Actually, the shell exploded very close to her position, and she was wounded, but not severely. Just some of the shrapnel hit her, but she was screaming and running around like a hell. I think that she should have been prepared for such an outcomes if she moved very close to the front lines, but mentally she was still in her studio or maybe in some sort of the tourist location, she said. For the full video, just go to my Telegram channel. Ukrainian army uses those remote control drone vehicles to demine the territory, and actually our forces tried to assault on Crimea before, but were unsuccessful because Russians put lots of the mines, and all of the fields around are the mine fields. So that is why those vehicles are superb for us. Kid in Russia lost his father but got the Sony PlayStation 5. Wow, great exchange. Yes, Russian officials and politicians build their own PR campaigns on that stuff, sending some sort of the presents to the kids of the fathers who lost their lives in Ukrainian conflict. The interesting thing that Sony canceled their subscription option for the Russian users. So this boy will not be able to purchase the games on a shop for that PS5. Joe Biden answered the question about the Leopard tanks. He said that Ukraine will get what it needs to withstand the Russian aggression. Okay, the latest news from Spiegel, they say that Germany already reviewed the Leopard tanks they have in their army and ready to supply 19 of those. Those could be modifications of the Leopard 2A5 tanks, which is better compared to A4. As you can see, it's very hard to push this big bureaucratic stone at first, but then it moves, it just rolls and destroys everything, including the Russian army. So 19 tanks is not a great number, but we're gonna receive those tanks also from other countries, and we're gonna create that big tank brigade.